Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Taco Imposters. I can get this to go. I just have this. Why is going? Ooh, that is not good. Oh. Taco Imposters for May 5th. No, is it 16th today? Yes. I believe so. It's May. Yes, 16th. Whoopsies. 2020. Still haven't gotten the animation done yet. And I also realized, whoopsies, what's going on here? What is going on here? I realized I can't actually get the animation done because I can't ink the animation with the software that I have. I'm like, oh, you suck. So I might have to start the whole animation over on a different software. But, yeah. You will see that in the future, though. Don't get me wrong. You will see a 90-minute full-length feature film with the director, the writer, director, and voice actor being me. So, maybe you'll see a trailer on YouTube. Not in the near future. No, not anytime soon. But, you know, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, so that's what I've been... And then I was reminiscing about a bunch of different things just now. And I was like, as a kid, I just didn't know anything better. I was reminiscing on things like video games I played, or movies I watched, or TV shows I watched, or... I remember, books I read, and I pulled out this book, which is just a book on Deal Me, and so it's a card game, like, rule book. And for me, Indian poker. Oh boy, how do you play Indian poker? Oh boy. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. Man, I was reminiscing on the fact that Red and Black. What's Red and Black? Anyway. Because my youth group leader in youth group at my church was like, blackjack is played. The dealer sees both cards down. Everybody else is one card down, one card up. No, everybody else is every card up. And I'm like, what are you, stupid? You dumb fuck? And he's like, no, that's how it runs. And the guy next to him was like, yeah, that's how it runs. The other leader. I'm like, you dumb fucks. That would mean that my childhood was a lie. Down the tubes. In the toilet. Anyway. And so then I was like, no, you're a dumb fuck. Open this book up. Go to blackjack. Look at blackjack and go, you're a twat. You're a frickin' twat. I mean, you're a dumbass. So, anyway. But yeah, that one, and I was reminiscing on just different books in general, too. And that book was one of the books that I remember, because I have a whole shelf of books here. Look. I have a whole shelf of books here. Look. Right? There. See the shelf of books over there? And I was reminiscing on just, like, all the books I used to read as a kid. Oh, I can zoom in. Oh, sorry. The books over there. That shelf of books, right? See right there? And for me, I remember reminiscing on those books. Now, those are not all the books I have. I have some in storage. Which I can't go get right now. Which really drives me nuts, because I'm like, I know I have books in there that I should book. Honestly, Mom wants to get rid of the storage unit, so she's like, get your stuff out now. And I was like, okay, I'll get 90% of it out. The 10% that I didn't get out is what I wanted. Like, now, in this circumstance that we're in right now, those are the things I want. And I can't go get them. Boy, I'm loony. I didn't think of that one. Anyway, whatever. But yeah. So, yeah, so, hey, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I was reminiscing on some of the books I had, and I'm like, I read parts of at least 25 books. I'm not even joking. Like, 25 books, I read, like, parts of. And okay, of course I've read, like, small books, like, Calvin and Hobbes, or Garfield, or Peanuts, or whatever. But I never read a full... Okay, the first book I ever ended up finishing, this was like 3 years ago. So, like, two Christmas ago, 2018 Christmas, or 2017 Christmas, was this. Which I never even knew existed. It's the novelization, it's the novelization of Back to the Future, Part 3. Now, there's a Part 1 and a Part 2. I don't have those two. I can get them on Amazon, but... Oh, that's update on. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so I have that one, and then I started reading this one after. Or actually before, and then after. It's the novelization of E.T. And apparently the novelization of E.T. is the only version of E.T. that has a sequel. Every other version doesn't have a sequel. Look right there. That looks like a red. Got some red spot there. Gone. Back. Gone. Back. Gone. I know it moves. Anyway. So yeah. That's the first book I ever actually read. That was a real, you could say, pictureless. A book without pictures that was a real story that I actually grasped and was like, this is great. This is absolutely fantastic. Like I was like, I'm reading a chapter a day, every day until the end of the year. That's what I did for like 2 months or something. I never actually got to finishing some of the books I wanted to finish. Like I start a book, I read like 4 chapters, 3 chapters, and then I move. Like I'm like, oh, I'll read this one, and then I've read like 13 books in like a week, and you're like, oh god, it's sad how little I read. I didn't know how to read until I was a really late bloomer. I learned to read at age like, now don't laugh at me, like 10. I'm not even kidding. Like 9, 10. It's ridiculous. I was so late a bloomer. But anyway. So that was the first book. And then the second book was Ready Player One, which is my second favorite book. And then the third book was Andy Schrock's Yesterday Erased, which is my first. My number one favorite book is Andy Schrock, Yesterday Erased. And number 2 is Ready Player One. And then after that, I have no idea. Probably like the Bible or something. 3. Which the Bible should be 1, but for me, For me, the Bible does not speak to me in the way that it speaks to a lot of other people. So, like, for me, I'm like, look, no, stop. It's not, no. But, hey, it's great. I love that book, but... Then, yeah, so... I mean, hey, books are just not my thing. But I remember, I mean, of course my mom, till I was, like, 7, my mom read to me, like, everything from Alice in Wonderland, Moby Dick, Christmas Carol, Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Charlie Bone, Matilda, Anna Suitcase, stuff like that, right? But I never read myself books, like, ever, which was very strange to me, because my brother, complete opposite. He read all the time. He just was addicted to reading. He was a bookworm. Which is surprising because you would think he would have like vision problems, like he would have glasses. Not even close. He read the Harry Potter series, not just 1 or 2 books, like the whole series, at least 20 times, because he was trying to. I've said this before, but he was trying to beat his best friend's, at the time his best friend's, record, which I think was like 10. He beat it by like double that, and then just kept going. It was like he beat it. Then was like, I'm gonna keep going, and beat it by like double, and then kept going more, and it was like, I remember asking him one day, I was like, okay, so you beat his record, now what? What do you want from now? Anyway, yeah. So hey, what are you gonna do? Suggest some books I should read down in the comments below, or email me some book suggestions, or Discord some book suggestions, because I really want some good book suggestions, because I'm tired of like, oh, you've got to read and then you pick like the most iconic books ever, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm never gonna read them. Give me books I would actually read. My genres of books are like fantasy, sci-fi, and like even horror, yeah, but like fantasy, sci-fi, horror, I could do romance. I could dip my toe into some romance. But yeah. So that kind of stuff. So I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's I don't know. I'm not saying I was horrible with books, because my mom would read me books. I was just not great. I don't know. Books were just not my thing. I never read. My best friend loved reading. My brother loved reading. I was in a book club. I read one of the books in the book club. My dad read every other book to me. But also, I was like 7 to 10, 11, 12. So, I mean, look. Okay. To be honest, and over the years, I reread all the books afterwards. Like, just Give me a sec, please. Shite. 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 Oh, dang. I have to just get back to somebody. Sorry. Yeah, so to be honest with you, I did read them all eventually. Like I read like the Charlie Bones and the Charlie and Chocolate Factory, and I read Harry Potter. Not the full series. And I read some of the other ones like City of Ember and stuff like that. Like as an adult, when I got older. But really, I didn't do a dang lot of reading as a kid. Not that that's a bad thing, but I just not books. Books were not my thing. Books were not. Now, I'm not saying books are awful, and I hated them as a kid. No, I liked read. I liked being read too, just like my other best friend. Cause my first best friend loved reading. Okay, he loved reading and was like addicted. Okay, along with my brother. I was like my other best friend, who loved getting read to. Also, he loved being read to. He was a kid who got read. He got Tarzan, Phantom of the Opera, Les Mis, and one of the book. Oh, The Last of the Mohicans. There's at least another one. No, he got them all read to him. Which I mean, hey, it's not bad. Not bad. He read some of the most classic, iconic books. I read a whole different genre of iconic books. So, oh, because his dad was a big literacy guy, so he like was really big into like reading books. So, like, hey, read books, read. Like, I'm like, okay. I was at sleepovers with him when his dad was reading books, and I'm like, we're reading what now? And a lot of the books were big old English books, just like thee, thou, thou, them, thou art. Just like, please stop. King James English. It's like, oh, Shakespeare English. I'm like, oh, good lord, please stop. Not that it was a horrible thing, but it was not great. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So I mean, it's not bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It wasn't great. It's not bad. So what was I saying? Yeah. So I read some good books, and I read some absolute stinkers. And now by the stinkers, I mean the stinkers were like, there's one book in particular that I remember being absolutely atrocious, and it was something called, I said this before, The Second Mrs. Giocondo. So the person who who was Mona Lisa, was Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. Her name was Mrs. Giocondo. I think it was like Lisa Giocondo or something, possibly. I thought the person's name was Mona Lisa, but apparently it wasn't. Not as far as that book went. Now, that book could have been fiction. I don't even remember, considering that book was just like, I have no clue any of it. Like, I just don't remember anything about that book. I remember it was horrible. I only remember all I remember is that it was horrid. Because it was a really bad, it was just bad. I don't even know what our reasoning, our logic was to read that book. My mom read it to me, and we were just like, this is the worst book I've ever read. This is so bad. Not that it was, like, absolutely worse, but, like, what is this baloney? Anyway. Yeah, so. Now, books. I'm looking at books now. I'm like, I read, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I read the whole series of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Well, up until, like, oh, crap. Some of the new stuff. Because some of the new stuff is just hit or miss. Like, you either love it, because you love the series, or you just hate it because it's not the right thing. Like I've said this before, I didn't review the movies, but I've said it when I was reviewing the book, that the movies are like a masterpiece up until the fourth, where they stopped, changed every actor, and kept the whole crew, but the actor, no, forget it, they changed them, and they're baloney, because basically it's also like 5 years too late. It was like 2017 when it came out, I think, or was it 16 it came out? Anyway, came out in I think it was 17, yeah. And they changed everything, and it was like 5 years too late or 7 years too late, because it was basically a movie about like, let's go and meet, because Greg wanted to meet the Greg actor, the Roderick actor, and the Rowley actor are shat. But again, and the okay. It was about he wanted to meet a Let's Player. Let's Playing was already dead by then. Like, it's not a thing on YouTube anymore. On whatever tube they were using. Anyway. But the thing that drove me nuts, okay, about that movie was they did the first movie. They did the second movie. They did the fourth. And then they did like 9. 8 or 9 or something. I'm like, what? Huh? I was so confused. I was just really confused. I was like, what's the logic here? Why are you doing book number way off in the... Because it was easy to do. It was a road trip movie and it was easy to do. Which still didn't make any sense to me, but... I was just Mickey Mouse-sized facepalm. Just like, no, this makes no sense. I watched it once on Spark. ABC Spark. Which... The HD version of ABC Spark was on channel 6. 6. I'm like, what? Okay, anyway. I watched it on that show and I was like, channel, and I was like, now if I would to see this in theaters, I literally would have walked out. I'm like, no, I'm out. That would have been the only movie I would have ever walked out on. I never walked out on a movie before. No. Surprisingly, because I spent money on it, and I'm like, I'm gonna get my money's worth. So, I did. But yeah. I know people who have. They've literally walked out on movies because they're like, this is bull. This is absolute bullshit. Bullspit. Anyway. Look. It's another one of those things where if you don't know what is good, you'll be like, it's decent, no? Right? So, if you've never watched any of the other movies, but again, the other movies exist. Now, look, I'm not going to complain because someone's going to say to me, because it's like when, on Shrek Back podcast, when Ryan Chambers always goes, somebody always says something stupid, like, you ruined my, pick a series, a movie series, and they'll be like, and Ryan's always like, no, we didn't ruin it, it still exists. They didn't take every copy, burn it, and say, this is the only thing that exists. Usually it's Star Wars, but not always. Sometimes it's like a superhero series or something, and they're like, oh, God, Lord. Anyway, like Batman or something, anyway. But yeah, so, don't get me wrong, the other 3 exist, but if you've never seen the other 3, you might be like, well, the 4th one's okay, right? And I'd be like, no! It's bad! Now, it's fairly faithful to the book, so you can't fault it there, but come on, people. It's bad! It's really bad! It's just so bad! It's just such a bad movie! I think you look up a review, what's the review called? The review of it is called. If I can find the movie, the review. It is, if I ain't mistaken. It is by. Oh shit. Fun of Films, I believe. No, sorry, no, not that one. It's by 24 Frames of Nick. And it's Die Rumpy Kid 4 Sucks. This one right here. The one right here. That one right there. 24 Frames of Nick. It's that one. What's it say on it? Not my project. Oh my god. Devin Bostic reacts to Die Rumpy Kid. Yeah, because David Bostic goes, the guy who played Roderick, the real, like, the good Roderick from the first 3 years. Or, like, okay. They told me I was in a movie. They told me I made a new, Die Rumpy Kid movie. I remember none of it. But let's go down. So he takes his computer, he picks it up, and he goes, that's not me. That's not me at all. Anyway, it's a great review, and he basically says the whole movie's absolute shit. But he makes some valid points as to why the first 3 movies are not as good as we remember. But are still pretty great. But they're not the best. But they are, like, masterpieces of movies. They're just not, like, cinema gold, you know? He's also a little bit, you know, not full of himself, but a little bit like, he's doing a bit. So this guy's doing a bit of like, oh, it's a bit. So you can tell, you're like, he either likes it too much or is doing a bit to make it look like he likes it too much. Anyway. He has a lot of reviews, actually, that guy. A few reviews. He's like Quentin reviews, so he does a lot of reviews. But anyway. Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. That would be bad. But it's not horrible. Like the books are great. The books are good. I stopped at like the Long Haul, and I did I think one after the Long Haul, and then I listened to the one after that. I didn't really get which was about technology, right, and going to the good old days, which is a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, book BS. But anyway, yeah, I mean it's not bad. It was one of those book series that kind of just went on forever, and you're like, you couldn't keep up, and you're just like, this is a bunch of hooey. But I mean it's not the worst. But yeah, I can tell it's not great. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a good series. It's a good series to tell someone like what do I tell like what kind of books do I give my kids to read that are nice, wholesome, and entertaining. And a lot of times it's like, well, Roald Dahl stuff, or Calvin and Hobbes, like comic book stuff, or Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Like I really do like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. My friend asked me, he was like, because we're in a Bible study, and he's a Bible study leader, and he's like, what are good kid books to read? What are good books to read? And I go, the Bible. And he goes, well, okay, other than the Bible. And I go, okay. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And he goes, I've heard that's good. I've heard people have said that's pretty good. It's good. Jeff Kenny. I don't know if he did any other books, but yeah. The other ones are Airborne, which is like by Kenneth Opeal, or any of Kenneth Opeal stuff, or City of Ember, pretty good. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's good. Harry Potter's good. Charlie Bone's good. I said this before, but the Charlie Bone series has a thing saying on the back of one of the Charlie Bone books that like, a great book to read while you're waiting for the next Harry Potter book. Like, wow. You obviously don't like Charlie Bone, or don't think highly of Charlie Bone. I'm not saying Charlie Bone's bad, but Charlie Bone also got to that point where I stopped reading after a certain point. I'm like, God, this is horrible. I'm like, this is so boring. I just saw this hat in the viewfinder, and I'm like, why? It's called McSharon Auction Service. High bidder. I don't know what the heck this is. I think it's like an English auction house. It's a hat I won in a claw machine. It's a decent hat. I don't know. This is a gavel, like an auction. Going once, going twice, sold. I mean, it's a hat. I don't know. I'll wear it for the rest of the video, honestly. I will. But yeah, Charlie Bone's a good series. I don't know. It's a good series if you like the like magical, whimsical, like kids kids book kind of stuff. Magic powers. Like it's not really wizards, but they have like their abilities. Like they're apparently natural abilities, but they're more just like superpowers. So the best is still Charlie's uncle's Peyton. Not allergic, but it can blow up light bulbs. And so he's not allowed to go outside because he will blow up the sun. The sun will explode. I'm like, what? You didn't think of the logic there? Really? Oh, another good series is the Magic Treehouse and School Bus. Those are good. Magic Treehouse is a good one. But they just started. Goosebumps. They all start. Both of those, Goosebumps and Magic Treehouse, just kept going like faster than I could read them. I was like, the Magic Treehouse started coming out faster than I could read them. I had the first, I think, 30 books, and then like, oh god, and I didn't even read all of those before the more books started coming out. I'm like, oh god, I can't do this. But anyway, this is funny, Uncle Peyton. So the way he got around that was sunglasses, and he just walked. He never looked up, and he just walked out because he fell in love with the librarian of the, and because they go to a magical like school of like, oh, like for, mutants or special children, special. Anyway, and so he fell in love with the teacher or the librarian, and he was very okay. Anyway, it wasn't great, but it's a decent book series. My best friend loved it, so my brother loved it. I personally did not love it. I got to a point where I was like, this is a bunch of hooey. I don't care anymore. But yeah. And book club? See, there was no book in the book club that I went to that I hated. Now, my friend at the time had one book, the first book he ever went to, and the only one he ever was at, he hated. Or maybe that's a lie, because maybe he went to two, but he hated it with a passion. Like, it's bull. I'm like, whatever. I read it, and I was like, it's fine. I don't remember what it's called. Don't ask me what it is. Then I remember almost every other book after that. You know, Cricket in Times Square. You know what's a good book? You know what's a really underrated book? So you got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then you've got the second, which is Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. And that's a really good book. Now, that's a good book. Now, if I recommend any books to someone, read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and then Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, because they're very good books. What else is there? There's, I'm looking at some of the books I have here. I have Superman in the 70s. So that's like a few issues from the issues from the 70s. And then I have Little Lit, which is Strange Stories for Strange Kids. The only reason I like that book is because it had a maze in it that I used to read as a kid. My friend showed me it. Same friend who showed me Calvin Hobbes. So, and like comics in general. Now, I had read Peanuts before that, and I read Garfield before that, but I never read Calvin Hobbes. And so he showed me Calvin Hobbes, and I was like, where have you been all my life? This is exactly what I loved. And I was like 13. No, I was like 10. That's a lie. I was like 10 or 12. Around there. Anyway, what other books that I read? What is that book? What is that book? What is that book? Oh, Asterix and Obelix. What is that book? Oh, okay. Asterix and Obelix. What else? I read a lot of random books. Anyway, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so, books as a kid? I don't know, something about books. I never loved to read. But, oh, you know what's a good book? Or at least, from what I hear, I'm not 100% sure if it's a great book, but my best friend loved this guy with a passion. He was like, this is the best book writer ever. Stephen King, Christine. He read Christine, he read Mr. Mercedes, he read, Buick number 8, I think it's called. Anyway, he loved that guy so much. My other best friend read, It and Pet Sematary, and Christine, and I think that's it. I don't even know if you read Christine. Might not be. No, I might not have read Christine. Just a really weird hat. Like, why did I gravitate towards that hat? I don't know. I paid $5 for it, so. I mean, it was also in a time when I was addicted to claw machines. And I remember my dad was like, claw machines are gambling. They're a waste of your money. Stop playing the gambling claw machines, you dumb fuck. I'm like, Dad, calm the frick down. And look, I won some great stuff. I won like 3 or 4 things ever. Now, one, I paid way too much. I paid like $10 for. It was insane. Other one, I did not pay that much. I paid $5 for this. Hey. Anyway. No, because, okay, here's the problem. In Canada, all 90, or at least Quebec, 99% of claw machines are rigged. Rigged up the wazoo. So you know they're rigged. You just gotta keep. But the movie theater near me that I went to before all this pandemic happened, in like December, I think, right? To go see Rise of Skywalker. Theirs is rigged, 100%. But it's play till you win, so I can play till I win. Anyway, that's not the point. They also have the cockpit version of the Star Wars cockpit game. The like simulator. Oh my gosh, the best game I've ever played. It's so good. It's the best Star Wars game ever. It's so good. Anyway, I'm going back there and I'm making a vlog and I'm making just playing all the shit out of that place. It was the best. Honestly, the most. Anyway. Oh, so anyway. Yeah. So books. Yeah. I hated reading as a kid. But I only hated reading because I feel like it was a sit down and like, I just don't care. I just don't care. But yeah. Please give me good books to read. I've read Ready Player One. I read Andy Schrock's Yesterday Erased. Those are my favorite books. Andy Schrock and then Ready Player One. I'm going to read E.T. and then I'm going to read Christine. So I've got those down. Unpacked. I'm reading lots of books to learn stuff, like movie books on how to make movies and like that kind of stuff. So I've got those down. I'm reading the Bible. I'm reading oh, another good book series if you like fantasy is Narnia. I only got to the Silver Chair or whatever it's called. Yeah, Silver Chair I think it's called. I didn't read them all. And again, my mom read them to me. But I mean, they were good books. They were good books. They were decent. They weren't the best. Man, my nose is on fire. It hurts so bad. It's like bothering. You know, you're like one of those like. I'm not sick. Don't be alarmed. I'm not sick. I don't have. No, but I mean, it's just like I can breathe. I'm not coughing. I don't have a headache, and I have my taste buds and my sense of smell. So don't be alarmed. I'm okay. And everybody I know around me is okay. So that's good. That's good. I haven't heard anybody like directly close to me that has gotten anything sick. So it's good. It's good. But yeah, it's a good one too. I'm reading C.S. Lewis, what's it called? It's called The Complete C.S. Lewis Signature Classics, and it's got everything from Mere Christianity to Mere Christianity, the Screwtape Letters, the Abolition of Man, the Great Divorce, the Problem of Pain, Miracles, Grief Observed. I was reading Mere Christianity, and I started reading the Screwtape Letters, but then somebody told me, don't read the Screwtape Letters, just don't. And I'm like, why not? Let's just read Mere Christianity first. Oh, okay. And I did, and I haven't read the whole thing, but yeah, that's a good one. He's a good writer. I've heard Game of Thrones is a good book series. Walking Dead's a good graphic novel comic booky series, apparently, because it's very different from the TV show. Yeah, I heard Game of Thrones is a good series. I don't know. I never read it, but I know it's good. I know what's it called? It's a good series too. Comic book slash graphic novel. What's it called? Oh my gosh, Walking Dead. Because it's very different than the TV show. But yeah, what else is good? I don't know. That's just books I read as a kid. So I didn't do Robin Hood, I didn't do Robinson Crusoe, I didn't do Treasure Island, I didn't do that stuff. But even though I played a play called The King of Spain's Treasure, which was basically Treasure Island, but I never read the book. Which you would have thought that I would have wanted to read the book, no? To know a little bit. I didn't give a shat. I'm staring right now at the Disney Robin Hood. It was decent. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but it was decent. I like that movie. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Up there in top probably 10. Yeah. Because I've been watching a lot of Disney documentaries to learn animation. Knowing, know how, yeah. Now you know, like, I want to be an animator. Not that I'm going to make money off of animating. I went on one of those salary calculation websites, and you can make $51,000 Canadian if you want to be in a studio. You do 2D animation, primarily solely 2D animation, and you've had 1 year experience. I'm like, that's pretty good. Yeah, granted that there are jobs, given jobs that are open. Like, definitely, at this moment in time, they don't need animators. They got the animators. Definitely not at, like, Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks or Blue Skies or Illumination or any of that kind of stuff. They don't need animators. They've got the animators they need. Not saying that they're never going to need them, but, like, not anytime soon. That's for sure. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so, what do I care? But yeah, I want to be an animator. I'm probably going to make my, like, animated YouTube stuff for a long time, and then I'll make enough money because I want enough money solely off YouTube. Now, solely off YouTube, like, monetization, forget it. You'll never make a damn dime to live off of. You'll maybe make just enough to live off of. But you will make, don't get me wrong, you will make money. So, and you'll make money off of, like, ads and sponsorships and whatever. Pick something, ads, sponsorships, So yeah, it's pretty good. So, like, everybody did the same thing. You got those, like, meal ready preparedness kit things that send you to your house, like HelloFresh or Good Food or whatever, or Blue Apron. You had the first ones though were like that I saw were loot crate stuff, one up boxes, the crate stuff, the loot crates, the surprise crates, what are they called? Subscription crates, whatever they're called. Subscription boxes. And you had the apps like Raid Shadow Legends, and the VPNs. That's what everyone did. And the first person I ever saw that did advertisements like TV was Linus Tech Tips. I was like, frig off, Linus, stop, this is ridiculous. I got off of TV because I didn't want ads. And whatever. Anyway. No, you know what the worst is? You know what the absolute worst is? Ads on YouTube that aren't ads. They're just other YouTube videos being given to you. Like, what's going on? Now, don't get me wrong, right? It's not the worst. I'm just saying, like, it's not a YouTube video. Or the dreaded, like, I had a 75-minute video. I mean, I skipped it. I could skip it, but I still got a 75-minute video. You will get that, like, hour-long video, 2-3 hour long video. You can't skip. And you're just like, kill me now. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not saying they're horrible, but yeah. So, yeah, that's what I did as a kid. It's good. Animation is good. So, yeah. The thing you can use, like, right now that everybody wants is a tech person. Someone who's a programmer who knows how to, like, fix any problem and just do it, or make you an app / website / whatever. Like, just like, oh yeah, I know how to do all this. Where that's really useful right now. That's why I'm learning JavaScript. And people say JavaScript's awful. But I'm like, oh, I've heard JavaScript's really robust. Like, you can use it for a lot of things. And other people are like, no, you can't. It's bullshit. But I'm like, hey, bullshit. But anyway. Yeah. So people say learn Python or C++. And I'm like, I don't want to learn C++. I was learning C++. I hate it. I was learning, because it's a lot of, like, open brackets, write some stupid line, add another stupid thing that you have to add in every one of them, close brackets, close squiggly brackets, or whatever, square brackets. Like, oh, God. Then I went to Python and went, ooh, Python's a lot more straightforward. Like, it actually tells you, do this, do that, done. Then, okay, I went to Basic, and holy crap. Okay, you can't, like, label statements, which I'm like, oh, you suck. But it's more English. At least the version I had, you couldn't label statements. But you can. It's more closer to English though, so I'm like, this makes so much sense now. So much sense. It's crazy. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I'm not saying that it's the most useful thing, but you can definitely get a lot more out of, like, it than you would think. Like, I personally am like, I don't really care. I don't really know what I can do with it. I want to make JavaScript. I'm learning JavaScript because I want to make Android apps, and I'm like, oh yeah, great, I'll do that. But really, I don't really care. Sorry, I don't. For any other, like, language, which is fine. I don't need to learn many more languages. You learn one language, and they're all basically interchangeable. It's like learning English, and then learning French, and then learning Spanish, and then learning Italian. They all are interconnected in some form. I mean, really, if you want to break it down, any language that's based in Latin is interchangeable in some way. Because you got a lot of languages like that. So it's like, okay, well, I don't really need to learn every language. I just need to learn one of these really intense languages. And then eventually I'll know a lot of, like, things about all the other languages. Whether that's English, French, Italian, Spanish. You know, you got German and Portuguese, too. They're close, too. Well, I mean, I don't know very much about languages. I only know English, and I know, like, 10% of French. I'm not even kidding. And I live in Quebec. So think about that. I should probably know a hell of a lot more French than I do. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it for now, guys. So, yeah. There's a, I got a email if you want questions, comments, concerns. I got a Discord, and I got a Patreon, which is still not ready yet, but, you know. It will be ready in the future. I know it will. So yeah, I think that'll be it for now, guys. So, I guess that's it. I really need to know more topics because the topics I have suck. But anyway, I think that'll be for now, guys. So, adios, mi amigos.